Here's Zo going and throwing it down.
Drafted number 2 overall in the 2017 draft, after a standout season at UCLA, Lonzo Ball was touted as Stephen Curry with a 40-inch vertical. Big things were expected after being chosen by his hometown team, the Los Angeles Lakers. Lonzo being chosen as the point guard that would turn the franchise around in their second season after Kobe had retired. In today's video, we will be breaking down Lonzo Ball's career so far, from being a standout at UCLA to struggling early on, to where he is today, in which he's thriving on a young Pelicans team. During the 2017 Summer League, Lonzo earned MVP honors, carrying the young Lakers team alongside Kyle Kuzma to a Summer League championship. Things were looking great for Lonzo. He was playing in his hometown, and after a slow start, he seemed to be fulfilling the expectations placed on him during Summer League. But then the regular season started. He got clamped up by Patrick Beverley in his first game. Then it looked likely that it was just like Summer League again. Just a single bad game due to nerves, I mean, who blames him, dropping 29 points against the Suns in his second game. But from there, things started to go downhill. Struggles with his jump shot, confidence, and understanding his role within this team started to arise, shooting only 36% from the field and 30% from 3 in his first NBA season. The original Stephen Curry comparison seemed to not be reigning true. Lonzo struggled through injury as well, missing 30 games during his rookie season. And during his second year, LeBron James joined the Lakers in free agency, automatically putting them into title consideration, which only put further pressure on Lonzo to perform. He did improve, shooting 40% from the field and 33% from 3, and he started to build some consistency within his game and some of that same confidence we saw at UCLA, until unfortunately he got injured again, ending his season with 35 games remaining. During that offseason, Lonzo alongside Brandon Ingram and Josh Hart were traded to the New Orleans Pelicans for Anthony Davis, giving Lonzo a fresh start. Lonzo was now away from the spotlight of Los Angeles, and it seemed clear that any issues he had struggled with previously had finally been resolved. He took a huge leap, shooting 37% from 3 and playing 63 games in the shortened season. And finally we arrived to where we are today. So far, Lonzo has played in every single Pelicans game, averaging 14.5 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists per night, whilst grabbing 1.3 steals, shooting 39% from 3 and 43% from the field. Now let's deep dive into how Lonzo Ball has improved so far throughout his NBA career. Lonzo's improved shooting form has been highly publicized for great reason. In his first season, his jumper moved up the left side of his body before crossing back over for the release, creating huge inconsistency in Lonzo's jumper. The other huge issue was how he transferred energy. The key to shooting well is to move the ball before your body moves, as we see Steph do. The ball is moved first, whilst both of his levers referring to your arms and your legs, are loaded, meaning energy is transferred into the ball from the whole body, rather than just the upper body, which is what Lonzo struggled with early on. During his second season, there were limited changes. It was only until he got to the Pelicans that we saw an actual change in his shooting form. We can see Lonzo no longer bringing the ball up the left side of his body. Instead, he moves it solely on the right side, and his release overall looks so much smoother, and the results showed in the numbers during his first season with the Pelicans. And this improvement has continued so far this season. His improved consistency has helped with his confidence. He looks comfortable with punishing defenders for going under in pick and roll, as well as pulling in transition. And check out this tough hit with Jason Tatum in his face. This shows insane improvement from his rookie season. His signature step back to the left still exists in his game, and his improved ability to shoot has furthered his consistency with this move. Check out this tough ISO against none into the step back. However, his form is not perfect. Lonzo still struggles with movement, and he still often moves his body at the same time as the ball, which means a lot of power he generates comes from his upper body, forcing him into a 2-motion jump shot. Lonzo also lacks the adjustability skill. Most of his makes require him to be completely set in place before shooting, and if he's not set in place, he struggles. One constant in Lonzo's game throughout his career has been his ability to playmake and his willingness to be a passer. A clear connection he has developed this season is with Zion, as Zion is the perfect player for Zo. Zion is a great screener and roller, making it easy for Lonzo to get the ball to him on the dime, or Zion's gravity influencing the defense on the roll, allowing Zo to find shooters. Let's take a look at a few plays in detail. Here we see Zo and Zion in get action, and Zion twisting to punish Pat for going under before diving hard to the rim. Note how Lonzo gets Zion the ball early, A big key to passing in pick and roll is passing as soon as the player rolls or once they get near the rim. Passing in the middle of the roll is often difficult as, number one, most defenses will switch, meaning you as the guard likely have a big on you, making passes difficult due to their length. And number two, the roller is most likely covered, so on the catch they would have to stop and make a secondary move. By passing early, as we see Lonzo do, he gives Zion a chance to build a head of steam that allows him to get the dunk. And although this isn't pick and roll, take note of how late Lonzo passes. He gets the defense to commit to him because they're trying to prevent his finish, which removes any chance of defenders recovering onto Zion before passing. Another key point here is that it is okay to jump and pass, but only jump to make a pass. You don't want to jump to find a pass. The final play I want to highlight is this one. In early offense, Lonzo notices Stewart is jogging back and not matched up with Hart. Just look at the speed at which the ball arrives to Hart, as well as the accuracy. The thing when you watch a player like Lonzo is he makes what he does look so casual and easy due to his personality. But making a pass like this on the money is ridiculously difficult, and making it without it getting picked off is even harder. At 6'6", with a 40-inch vertical, Lonzo is an elite athlete, and this allows him to be a great finisher at the rim. His frame allows him to take contact and still finish, and his length allows him to score over smaller defenders. These two assets are on show in this clip, using his quickness to get downhill, strength to bump Smith off the line to create the angle for the finish, and his length to float it over. And here in transition, bumping Jason Tatum off expertly with his off arm to get the easy layup. His quickness and ability to accelerate is also insane. Check out this beautiful float before driving hard and floating through the air for the beautiful finish. The thing with Lonzo is he has all the skills to be an elite finisher and isolation player. I mean, check out this hesitation and change of speed in this clip, into the beautiful skip finish, controlling angles and space like a veteran. But he only finishes at the rim 22% of the time. 60% of his shots come from 3 and the other 18% are in the mid-range. Another constant within Lonzo's game has been his defense. As discussed, his frame and athletic ability allow him to be an elite defender. He currently ranks in the 93rd percentile for opponent effective field goal percentage at 50.6%, which is basically a fancy way of saying he is one of the league's best defenders. Lonzo is often tasked with guarding the opposing team's best player, and as the league shifts towards guards being the best player for most teams, Lonzo's value will continue to rise. Check out this play versus Donovan, fighting over screens, top locking, recovering, and forcing Donovan into every counter he has in his bag, before rejecting him at the rim with 0.1 left on the clock. Making offensive players work this hard every single possession just to get a shot off is so valuable, tiring them out throughout the game and forcing others to win. Here against Clarkson, he controls space beautifully, showing a fundamental hustle slide, forcing Clarkson into a drag. Take note of how Lonzo contests too. He jumps to the side, trying to get a tip rather than jumping up and down. Due to his length and athletic ability, this is a great way to contest. He avoids the chance of drawing a foul and puts legit pressure on the shooter. Lonzo also has great hands, here in transition switching onto Bojan before stripping him at the perfect time. And as the low man, he forces a dump off to Aiden before just missing the ball, but this influences Ayton to finish slightly off, resulting in the miss. And finally, let's break down how well he guarded Luka. Take note of how he reacts to getting screened. He turns and begins to sprint downhill, locking onto Luka's hip and forcing Luka into the tough sidestep which he's able to block. The key point here is Luka can't sprint away from Lonzo as Adams is waiting to defend. This allows Lonzo to get back into play to get the block. The Mavs are trying to run a Spain pick and roll here, so the Pelicans opt to blitz. Lonzo and Zion doubling off the pick. Bledsoe on the pass, as he is the low man, moves to tag the roller, Kleber, and due to the double, Luka throws a subpar pass which results in a turnover. This also relates back to the point I made earlier of passing in the mid-range area in pick and roll. This is what usually happens. And finally, this play to end the half. Just check out the effort he exerts, getting through this tiny gap to prevent any advantage in pick and roll before putting the clamps on and forcing the pass. Yes, Kristaps makes it, but this is amazing defense. He forces Luka to give the ball up, getting the ball out of the best player's hands and forcing someone else to make the play. Beautiful stuff. One thing I would love to see Lonzo improve is his floater. He often never extends fully on his floater, which means the energy he creates is not correctly transferred into the ball, which usually results in him airballing or shooting short. If he wants to be a legit championship team level guard, I think adding a highly consistent floater is vital. He is starting to punish teams now that go under and pick and roll, and eventually teams will start dropping and covering him differently, forcing him to put the ball on the floor and getting him off of the 3-point line. He does already have a great finishing package, but adding a floater will make him so much more deadly. Lonzo Ball has had a rough career so far, but I think things are finally starting to turn around and work out for him. He seems to be in a great situation, with players that complement his skill set, and it appears teams like the Clippers and ironically the Lakers are looking for his services. Having a player like Lonzo, someone who has a great NBA frame and is always looking to make the right play and can guard the opposing team's best player, is highly valuable. I expect the Pelicans to hold on to Lonzo as the trade deadline approaches. He is just too valuable for them to trade away. If you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. My goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers by June. I also made a breakdown on LaMelo, which you can watch right here, so if you're interested, check it out. Thanks again guys, I appreciate you all.